With coronavirus putting life on hold, some families have to adjust their budgets. I'm joined by Clarke and Jumelia Abrahamson, who work with University Neighborhood Housing Program. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Great. So what programs is UNHP offering people through COVID-19?
So before this crisis happened, the Northwest Bronx Resource Center offered a wide range of housing and financial services. And for the most part, we did those face-to-face and in group settings. Obviously, we can't do that now. But the good news is there is a lot that we can do remotely through email and on the phone. First of all, our phones are working and people are answering our phones. So I think that's a great first step. Our number is 718-933-2539, and people can reach out to us and speak to someone. The other thing that we're doing is we are working with seniors and people with disabilities to freeze their rent. We're connecting people with one-on-one free financial counseling. And we are working with people that have the Housing Connect accounts, which is New York City's online affordable housing lottery, to update for new lotteries. But I think the biggest thing that we're doing is answering our phone, providing information to people on a wide range of services. And just yesterday, we started doing wellness calls to the seniors who use our programs, 300 of whom we know don't have access to internet or email. So we're checking in on them, seeing if there's anything we can do to help. And in the next week, I think we're going to start reaching out to people who've used our housing services and work with them remotely on the phone to help them take the next step.
Yeah, that's very important, making sure that we're checking on the most vulnerable in our communities. But how can one-on-one financial services help New Yorkers, especially during this time?
Well, financial counseling, it's always so important, and I can't stress that enough. But before I talk about that, I just want to say how glad I am that we're having this conversation as a reminder that this will end. The crisis will end, and we need to plan as a hopeful way to look to something else in the future. And that's what financial counseling provides. It reminds us that we can prioritize, that we can make plans, and that we can bring other people into those plans that can help us achieve it together, that we're not alone. So at UNHP, we've always seen financial counseling at the core of all of our services. If it's housing, if it's taxes, if it's rent freeze, because once we know that an individual is working with a financial counselor, that they'll reach financial stability. And during times like these, we see that health and finances go hand in hand. So once we have this plan in place, it helps us reduce our stress level. It helps us have an ability to buy necessities like food and medicine. It helps us pay our bills, like the rent that's always lingering. So it gives us this sense of control, and it helps us understand what's coming in and where we're actually spending our money. So that's why at moments like these, we should be reminded that we can access financial counseling, and the city has a range of financial counselors available. UNHP works with 2 different partners. And as Kathy mentioned before, these counselors are available for phone session, virtual Skype sessions, through texting, to help people understand what they can prioritize, what they have to pay first, what can wait, help them create a plan and communicate with lenders so their credit is not affected. And it also provides that support that they may need during stressful time like these.
Yeah, that's super important, especially for people who aren't sure where their next paycheck is coming from or where this is going to lead. But what needs to be done for hardworking families right now who are sometimes essential workers getting paid minimum wages?
Yeah. So that's an issue that's been around for a long time, especially in the Bronx and in low-income communities in New York City. The the Bronx has the lowest per capita income, and it's been that way for a while. Wages, even with recent minimum wage increases, just have not kept up with expenses, especially rent, which has really been increasing very significantly over the past few years. And this mismatch between wages and rents is really the foundation of the affordable housing crisis that we're in right now and the rise of homelessness. It's interesting that this moment has really shone a light on the essential workers who really earn so little. And yet, right now, they're keeping us all afloat by delivering packages, working in grocery stores, taking care of the elderly in their homes. You know, in our tax program, we see both home health aides that work in people's homes, as well as people who work for hospitals that are unionized. And it's more than just wages, that's the difference. So having paid sick leave, having medical benefits, having the opportunity for increases in the wage really is also part of that equation.
Yeah, definitely. And but particularly right now, as we're going through it, what should people keep in mind when it comes to financial planning during this time?
Well, I think definitely people should focus on their health, continue to do that. And while sheltering in place, they should make this plan, a financial plan. They can create a vision board. They can get creative, visit Pinterest and different apps. And they can bring the family together to start talking about what goals do they see themselves creating in the future. Could it be paying debt or sending someone to college or themselves or buying a home, or just something as small as opening a bank account for a family member that may be unbanked, or for the younger members of the household, starting a piggy bank of some kind, or just instilling these conversations about money, which sometimes in many of our households, especially the household that we work with, and I myself come from a Hispanic household where money sometimes is a taboo. Like, people don't talk about how much money you make or how you're spending it. And usually until there's a crisis, these topics don't come up. So we should use this time to have these conversations and be preemptive so we can prepare. And in the future, we're not so stressed when situations like these arise.
That's great advice. Well, thank you both for joining me so much. Hopefully this is some sort of help for all New Yorkers going through sort of a stressful time. Be sure to check out UNHP online. They've updated their website with a COVID-19 guide. It has resources for health, housing, finances, and food in the Bronx and citywide. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie.